What's up, everyone? Thank you for checking out this episode of Raised a Geek. This week, we talk all about Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. So let's get into it. I'm Chris, and as always, I'm here with my buddy Don. How we doing, man?
Chris, what is up today, my friend? I am well. Cannot complain. Everything is okay today. Yeah, man, just chilling, thinking about some turtles, ready to talk about that, but everything is cool.
Oh yeah,
How are you? How's everything going?
doing good, doing
Yeah.
good. I went to Best Buy today to buy a movie on physical media.
You're one of those.
No,
You're one
I.
of
Do
the,
you remember the last movie you bought on like a disc? Do you even have discs anymore?
I still have a few, like the ones I couldn't like make myself part with when I
Yeah.
started like getting rid of all my physical DVDs.
hmm
But honestly, I cannot remember. Probably like the Blu-ray of the um Batman the animated series.
Okay.
I remember I ordered that when I came out because I thought I needed it. I needed to have it, which I'm glad I do, but like all those are just on HBO Max now too.
Yeah.
So I really didn't have to buy them. But yeah, that's probably the last one. That's already a couple years ago, so it's been a while. What the hell were you going to buy today that you had to have?
I was going to buy Babylon.
What's on? Ain't that on something?
It's on something, but I wanted to get the 4K and see if there was really a difference. I was reading a bunch of stuff talking about the compression of even if we're watching 4K on Netflix, it's still not 4K. And I was
Mm.
really curious. And I've been telling people that like Babylon is one of my favorite movies ever. So I'm like, maybe I should own it. But with all of this news that came out, which we're going to talk about here in a minute about, password crackdowns for these streaming
Mm-hmm.
services and price hikes,
Mm-hmm.
pretty soon I'm not going to have any streaming services. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I need to go back, and I already don't have Netflix. Once they
Mm-hmm.
crack down on password sharing, I'm going to lose Disney and Hulu,
So what are you gonna be left with?
HBO
Amazon.
and Peacock. Yeah, Amazon. I'll have Amazon. I still have more than enough. I mean, Paramount, I probably won't resubscribe to in my year's up. Peacock, I'll
Mm.
keep until wrestling is no longer there.
How you gonna watch anything?
I don't I have YouTube TV. I do pay for YouTube TV.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
funny. I don't have cable anymore. Like I cut the cord a few years ago to save money because now like you just said, you have YouTube TV. I
Yeah.
use Hulu Live. Um, it's basically the same thing as cable. But like I
Yeah.
sit there and I realize I don't really watch like shows. Like I don't watch ABC, NBC, CBS for anything. Like people are like my How I Met Your Mother and whatever, all these Chicago PD. I don't watch any of that. So it's like I really have my um streaming live TV for sports,
hmm
and that's about it. Sports. um so yeah, I wouldn't miss it if that was gone. But like there's just so much, like if I didn't have my streaming services, I know they're raising the prices, but like what am I gonna watch? Um
Physical media.
and
I'm gonna
that's where
I'm
the
gonna
physical media comes back
that's
into
where it
play.
comes back where I'm like, well, when I lose all of this shit, I want
Yeah,
to be able to watch stuff. I
I
still
get
have
it.
a few shelves of DVDs and a couple binders and stuff. So I mean, I still have plenty that I can go dig through
Mm-hmm.
and I buy DVDs every once in a while when I'm looking for sometimes like 5 packs of movies. Like I bought the Sniper collection because I wanted to watch Sniper with Tom Berenger and I couldn't find it streaming anywhere. So I went on Amazon and for like $10 bought a 6 pack of Sniper movies. I
Yeah.
just bought yesterday, I bought the Death Race 4 pack for it was $12 and I had $10 of Best Buy money. So it cost me $2 because I want to watch Death Race, but it's not streaming anywhere.
Hey man, I
So
get it.
I buy little random
I
movies
get it.
sometimes.
You know,
Anyway,
physical media is gonna make its way back. The same way records came back, and now like CDs and tapes are gone, but somehow records are back. So maybe like movies, DVDs, and Blu-rays are gonna be like, you know what? They'll find their way back into the world. Uh, but yeah, we've had this conversation before. At some point, you gotta maybe consider owning digital media again because who knows what's gonna happen to all these things, these when all the streamers go away and we decide that's not a thing anymore, then how are you going to be able to watch your things?
Yeah,
So
I know. Who knows? And like I said, I ultimately didn't buy any. So
right. There
granted, I
you go.
found one copy of the movie, but like the case was all bent in half, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So
Which I guess brings us into our conversation about these price hikes you just kind of alluded
yeah,
to, right?
yeah, absolutely. Because this week they did like the Disney quarterly
Mm-hmm.
report, whatnot, for investors, and one of the things they mentioned was that Disney Price and Hulu are both getting price hikes in October. And this is actually in the course of a year. This is the second price hike for both of these networks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Hulu went from like $12.99 to $14.99, and that's when I canceled it because I'm like, I don't watch Hulu enough to pay $15 a month for it. And now Hulu's going from $14.99 to $17.99, and I'm like, I really don't watch enough Hulu to warrant that. And Disney Plus went from 10.99, or they're going from 10.99 to 13.99 a month. And before that, they were 7.99. So in less
Mm-hmm.
than a year, they're going from 7.99 to 13.99. So they're doubling their price in a year. Remember when Disney Plus was bragging about their 6.99?
Yeah. As an introductory price for the
Yeah.
first whatever to get a bunch of people.
Yeah. You get Disney Plus, and now they're pushing their ad tier
Mm-hmm.
because they're all realizing that, it's funny, all these streamers came out and they were like, we're gonna be better than cable, no commercials. And now they're realizing, oh shit, cable has commercials because that's how they make money. So we got
Sure.
to have commercials. We need you on our ad tier. So we're going to outprice you. We're going to raise the price so high on the ad free tier. So you go ads.
It's capitalism at its finest, isn't it?
And they also said, because Netflix was a success with it, they're cracking down on password sharing sometime in 2024. So all you
Mm-hmm.
password sharers out there, you
Which
done
is
fucked
probably
up.
which is probably a lot of people. So I guess we're kind of talking about how we feel about this.
Yeah.
Me, this is like a thing that kind of seems like it's inevitable
Yeah.
for everything. I mean, and it's not just streaming services, it's everything. The price goes up on everything. Isn't
Yep.
that kind of the complaint about
Yep.
uh life in today's modern world? Like gas prices go up, food prices go up, groceries, everything, and we still make the same amount of money. Um, so you just kind of got to lump it in with those. And when I really think about it, it's like, okay, 10.99 to 13.99. So it's $3 a month. Um, let's say it's for a year, 12 times 3, what's that? $36. So $36 more for a year.
Oh, yeah.
I just bought 2 pizzas today for $36. So at the end of the day, it's like, is it really going to change my life? No. The principle of it, yeah, it can kind of irk you if you think about it. But at the end of the day, is $36 going to ruin me financially? Like I'm ruined, like Tiger King. This is going to ruin me financially.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, I understand the principle of it, like being like, well, what am I paying more for? Because the content kind of isn't stepping up its game. So why should I pay more? It's going to come down to like personal decisions for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
If it's something that you're okay with, some people will probably be like, whatever. But some people, like with Netflix and other things, when they raise their price, be like, I'm good. I'm done. I don't need
Yeah.
it anymore. And I
Well,
can bring it back at any time. That's also
that's
one of
the
the
thing,
benefits.
is it always reminds me like, oh shit, Disney Plus is raising their price. Do I ever watch Disney Plus? Do I ever feel compelled to open
Mm,
the app unless it's like something very, very specific? No. Do I
right.
need this right now? And it just opens the door to remind me that I'm paying for
Mm,
this. And it's
right.
like, oh shit, I'm paying how much? No, no,
Right.
no, no, no. I'm out. And then if I
Yeah.
miss it, just come back.
Exactly. It's like what I did with Apple TV. I canceled it after Severance. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll bring it back when Severance season
Yeah.
2 comes out. Now who knows if that ever will, but it's like I can bring it back at any time.
Yeah, I'm very good at kind of being the hop in, hop out
Sure.
type person. I'm good at keeping track of all of that, of what I'm subscribed to and where. Catching deals. I think I paid $50 for a year of Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
So when that year's up, chances are I probably won't renew it unless there's something specific that I want to watch.
We'll see what happens too with me personally. I'll like keep you updated with Hulu and Disney because mine are like packaged
Yeah.
together. My Hulu, Disney, and ESPN Plus, which I don't think I've ever watched. but like the last price hike didn't even affect me because I was like grandfathered into the old
Yeah.
price. So
Plus,
it's
you're
like,
on ads, aren't you?
yeah, I have
They're not
ads,
really raising the price of the ads.
which I don't mind ads. They're annoying for a minute and a half and just gives me a minute and a half to look at my phone. So I don't care really about that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm trying to get my brain
mhm,
being okay with that so I can just grab something cheap and watch a couple things and get out.
yeah,
That'll probably be my go-to
sure.
here. But it's just kind of crazy watching this and watching the world freak out and everyone saying, I'm canceling, I'm gonna go sail the seven seas, and then nobody does.
No, you won't. Same way everyone said they're leaving Twitter and then no one did. And Threads already is talking about they lost half of their signups and
Hilarious.
everyone's back on Twitter when they said we hate it here. No, not enough to leave though.
Right.
It's still one of those things.
Uh,
Yeah.
so switching gears,
Mhm.
we had more outrage this week in the Twitterverse or the Xverse. Is it called the Xverse?
I think so, but I don't know.
I don't like it. X is
I,
really that's really weird.
I still haven't updated my Twitter, so I still see the bird. Like I
Yeah.
guess if I do the app update, it'll give me the X, but like I still got the bird for now. I'm gonna keep running the
Hold on
bird.
to it until they force you.
Yep.
But they announced Rockstar Games announced that they're
Mhm.
re-releasing the original Red Dead Redemption on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4.
Mhm.
But this is just a re-release and not a remake or a remaster. So it literally is just the PS3 version of Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare coming out for your PS4 and Nintendo Switch. And they're charging $49.99 for it. And everybody exploded because they wanted a 60 frames per second 4K updated, basically bring it on the par of Red Dead 2. And they
Mhm.
did not get that. How does this news affect you? Were you in? Because I know you're a big fan of Red Dead Redemption. You loved Red Dead 2. You've
Mhm.
talked about wanting to go back and play Red Dead a little bit.
Right.
Now
Yeah.
here's kind of an opportunity. Would
Mhm.
you prefer a remake, remaster, especially for $50?
I mean, not if it's the same game, not if it looks and plays the same. Like this isn't like a Last of Us situation we just
Mm,
had where they completely kind of revamped the whole thing, and that's why I played it again because I wanted to see all the new how it looked now and
yeah,
the new smoothness and sharpness brought up to date, modernized the whole thing. This is not one of those situations, and the outrage is out there because that was the rumor. See, this is
hmm
what happens when you buy into rumors too much. Never believe anything you hear until you see it for yourself because this kind of stuff always happens.
yeah,
Then you get your hopes up and your expectations like everyone's talking about it, we're doing this, we're doing, and then the real news hits and it's not what you're expecting. You're just like, fuck this. So this is just
yeah,
like this is that. Um, so no, I'm not looking to like buy another copy of the same game. I do really like that game. If they were to someday kind of do a reboot of it, a la how the Last of Us treatment just got, I would be interested, but no. It's funny that people are so mad about it though. It's like you're mad about something that you guys made up saying was going to happen and
yeah,
then get mad that it didn't happen. So who are you really mad at? Like Rockstar because they didn't fulfill your fantasies?
yeah,
Whatever. I don't know.
yeah.
Does this affect you in any way?
No, because I actually come out on the sweeter side of that because as I said, it's coming out on the Nintendo Switch and the PS4, but I didn't say anything about the Xbox
Mm,
because it's already out on Xbox. I already own it, the physical copy on Xbox. I paid way less than $50 for it. And Xbox actually beefs it up. So I think it is 60 frames per second. Like it plays better on the Xbox and only
mm,
costs $20.
there you go.
So I have the physical. I bought it somewhere. I don't really know when or even remember how much I played of it, but I have it. So now I kind of want to play it again. But
Mm.
if anything, I'm thinking about getting Red Dead Revolver when it's on sale on
Oh,
PS4,
the original,
the original, because that
the one
game,
people really don't remember that started the whole thing. That game was just like more of a straightforward, not a big open world thing, more of like a mission based, just straightforward game. But that
yeah,
game was fun as hell. We used to play like two player fight each other. Remember
the
that? Like
duels.
the duels. Those were
Yeah.
fun.
I played through that one a couple times. Like I played the shit out of Red Dead Revolver. Red Dead Redemption, like I said, just being that giant open world, I get lost and
Sure.
I don't find myself. So um have to do that. But no, this doesn't affect me in any way. I already have the game. I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I can understand, but yeah, as you said, people overhype themselves and this is what happens.
I mean, and you never even played the story for Red Dead Redemption 2, did you? So you
I
still
only I
got all
played
that
like
to play.
yeah, I played like the first chapter, maybe two of it. I did a couple chapters, but put in like 60 hours of online.
Sure.
So I played a shit ton of online, but I didn't play the game that much.
Yeah.
So yes, I still have plenty to play.
There you go.
Plenty to play. And speaking of games that I will play and is on par with what our conversation is today, which we'll get to Mutant Mayhem here in one more minute. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series and PC sometime next year. It is currently in development, so they didn't give us a date, but they did give us a 45-second trailer that really didn't show anything but candles blowing out and some background stuff. But the previous rumors, as we just said, don't buy into rumors, but it was going to be a God of War style game based upon the comic book that was done by the original creative cast, Kevin Eastman, one of the original creators of Ninja Turtles, wrote the comic book. We talked about the comic book when it was here, when we were done. We talked about it here on the show, as well as currently. We're both still reading. I think the Last Ronin. They're doing what is it, the Lost Tales,
or like the Lost Years. It was like
Lost Years. Yeah,
what happened? What happened to the turtle who's the last Ronin?
Yeah,
before he got back to New York or something. Yeah.
Is this like a day one purchase for you?
Hard to say sight unseen, but just based on what it is, I can't see why not. Love that book. Love Ninja Turtle games. Always have. Like we've talked about them before. Like Ninja Turtle games are some of the funnest games. Like we just have always had a blast with those. We're sitting here playing Shredder's Revenge just last year. A bunch of other ones have come out throughout the year. So turtle games are always fun as it is. Love the comic book. This one, if you've read the comic or whatever, it's going to be more adult, more mature themes. It's like a different universe dimension of turtles or like an Elseworld story kind of a thing. But yeah, I mean, Ninja Turtles in the style of God of War. What am I not going to like about it? Unless it looks like complete crap. Like, I don't see how I won't be playing this game like right away when it comes out.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I mean, there has to be some worrying things, or they need to like Suicide Squad this, where they like add a bunch of like live game services of games, like things and battle passes and like random shit to it. But if they can deliver on that, just even halfway, they can deliver half of Ninja Turtles in the style of God of War. You don't even have to touch God of War level. Just give me half. Give me half a God of War. Just get to that level, and you got my money.
Yeah, easily.
I mean, it's just no brainer on that. Like I said, we were day one for Shredder's Revenge. How neither one of us bought the Cowabunga collection yet?
I don't know.
I'll never know. At some point, we'll have to do that so we can do some of those old school games. But bury my shell at Wounded Knee.
And I'm sitting here rubbing my hands together, like thinking about when I went to C2E2 last year. Like my big signature was Kevin Eastman signed my copy of The Last Ronin. It was like, all right, if this game's really good, how much is this bad boy gonna be worth? I always say that they're never worth anything, but it'll be still just fun to have in my collection.
Of course,
you'll
have to buy that one on physical media so you can have it next to your.
All right, display them right next to each other.
Display them right next to each other. You have to get him to sign it at the next con.
Oh, snap.
And then you side by side it. All right, man. Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came back to theaters last week, made a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Did all right for itself. They came back in the animated style in a movie called Mutant Mayhem. The film follows the Turtle brothers as they work to earn the love of New York City while facing down an army of mutants. This is another kind of reboot, refresh origin story for the Turtles, doing their thing. We've talked about all 5 Ninja Turtle movies that exist. This is our first animated turtle movies that we're talking about here today.
Mhm.
Had a stellar cast. One of the things that really stood out from this one is that it was written by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg and produced by both of them, who are known for obviously all of their movies and everything that they do. Seth Rogen was at the front of this movie thanking me for being there. He was thanking me personally for buying a ticket and coming to the theater.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, look at that. So I mean, it kind of had you could tell just from like, hey, Seth Rogen's developing a Ninja Turtle movie. That's kind of cool, you know, like what is that going to be? What's the vibe going to be? How's this going to feel? And now we know.
Yeah, we do.
Um, so where was your did you have an excitement for this movie when we first kind of saw things? Was there anything that really stood out to you about just this movie being announced?
Um,
Your initial feelings.
yeah. I mean, you and I both can agree, and most people of our age who like this kind of stuff, we just have like this affinity and joy and love for Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
It's just a nostalgic thing we grew up on, like a cartoon that kind of like took over the world when we were little kids. The toys, the comics, the games, and it's just crazy to me that it's kind of still enduring now when we're like, reaching our middle age. Like this is still a thing. Uh I went to this movie with my 4-year-old nephew, and he's like just as excited for this movie as I was at like a little older than that age. Like,
Yeah.
this is weird. This is blowing my mind, kind of. How
Mm-hmm.
do you know all these turtles' names? You're born in the year 2019.
Right.
Um, um, but yeah, man, I was excited. We talked about the trailer a little bit. I think we talked about it in our episode with Across the Spider-Verse, saying like that movie might have influenced this a little bit, or the Spider-Verse, kind of like this new wave of interesting, unique animation to come out. And so this kind of looked like it was along those lines. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, I was excited. Who doesn't love some Ninja Turtles stuff? If you like, comics and games and just nerdy stuff, Ninja Turtles, you're gonna always be excited about a new Turtles project. So yeah, dude, I was really uh excited with the announcement, and I went and saw it on opening weekend. So I mean, that must say something. How about you? Like, hyped? Were you hyped for this one, like when it got announced?
Not really. I mean, I was interested in it. I watched the trailer. I said, okay, that looks cool. That looks like something I'm going to watch. I necessarily wasn't like, I need to go see this in theaters. I wasn't, I was also, I was having, a little PTSD because the last time I went to the movies happened to be Spider-Verse, which was also an animated film, and I had my taillights stolen. So I was kind of a little nervous and a little
You
kind of
thought
a
you were
mess.
cursed.
I thought I was cursed, and I was really nervous
Well,
that I was going to come out of the movies yesterday and they weren't going to be there.
well, before we continue, no problems this time.
No problems. I did go to a
Okay.
3 in the afternoon movie, so I was hoping that my taillights would be safe
No
at like
brazen,
3:30
no,
or whatever time it was.
no brazen daylight criminals.
Day
Hopefully,
not, yeah, I was hoping there were no daylight criminals, and I left the rear of my car in the center lane instead of backing in, so that you couldn't even hide between cars. You had to be like,
pretty bold if you were gonna
pretty
do that.
bold. Plus, I've done some pretty severe security measures to my truck to make
Sure.
sure whoever tries that next time will regret it.
Thumbtacks right on the light,
Mhm. My
like
dad's
Kevin,
idea
like
was to
Kevin
get
McAllister style from Home
I
Alone.
yeah, I was debating about how hard it would be to get like some fake C4 tied to a string. So then when they open it, it starts beeping and then starts beeping faster and
Yeah.
faster and faster. Um, my dad's idea was to somehow rig it into the gas tank and actually blow the truck up. So I was like,
Come on.
whoa, Dad, let's take a step back. He was ready for the full on onslaught of
That's how we do it in my day, son. Blow up your
we
own
just blew
car.
the fuckers up. Anyway, sorry, weird sidebar. I was excited for this movie. I was ready to watch it when it was. I was excited as I get for movies nowadays.
I gotcha.
I,
That's fair.
I have Paramount already telling me like they already have the spot saved. Like here it is. It's just a matter of waiting for it. I'm like, but it's always fun to go to the show and to see it
Sure.
and see these types of movies. So I ultimately kind of moving into the next thing of what do you think about it, but I had fun watching it. I had fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we're gonna have shit to say to be like to bash this movie in any way. It was you could tell it was made with love for the series and the characters, it obviously was updated
Mm-hmm.
to, newer generation. It was made for your nephew or, the
Right.
10-year-olds or 12-year-olds now who really it should be made for. So I'm not mad of the changes that they did choose to make for these characters or for anything really in it, because it's not really for me. I know everyone's freaking out about Barbie, and I'm like, well, was Barbie really made for you? No, it probably wasn't made for you. So that's okay. It doesn't have to be. But I enjoyed what they gave me, and there was enough Easter eggs and like kind of jokes in there that worked, I think, on multiple levels, that it didn't feel kiddie. And I was uh
Mm-hmm.
I was down for the ride, man. It was a good time.
Yeah, I agree. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen, like, but it's just like a fun, nostalgic trip.
Hmm.
I just like I like those characters. I like the different takes now. I like the uniqueness of it. Like Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, you can tell they're just like, probably around our same age, grew up with the turtles, and they kind of just wanted to take them and put a little different spin on them.
Yeah.
How many times can you see the same, you don't want to just animate and remake the movie from the 90s.
Yeah.
So, you come up with a new idea and a new fresh way to tell things, and they change some things that, while we're watching it, you're like, oh, that's different. Is that cool or not? I mean, either way, it's interesting because it's just a different take. Um, yeah, but I thought it was fun. It was funny. Um, Me and you always enjoy a nice 90-minute movie. So that's always a plus. I know we keep saying that, but it's true.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, I loved the hell out of Spider-Verse, but did it need to be 2.5 hours? No.
Right, exactly. So like a nice little 90-minute movie. The jokes were funny, the action was cool, had some good music in there.
Hmm.
Uh we talk about the animation style, but that was also cool and interesting. So yeah, man, the movie was a winner, I think. It's one you didn't have to think too hard about. Um there's certain parts where I probably missed it because like I said, I'm sitting there with a 4-year-old and he's all hyped up with his little Leonardo mask and all like
It's
4-year-olds
adorable.
4-year-olds don't know how to like
They have no
be
chill.
like they don't know how to be in movies sometimes. So like he was very well behaved. He's a very well behaved kid. But like every now and then he'd just be like "Cowabunga!" like at the top of his lungs. Like we can't be that loud in movies. He's like, why? It's because other people have to hear. Okay, okay. Just like you don't know how to tell a kid to be quiet in a movie because they can't understand. Like
Yeah.
we're not at home. I know you can't understand. I like the enthusiasm though.
Yeah.
Uh but it was fun. Yeah, man, I had fun with it. So, an enjoyable movie, and we can get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the first thing, as you said, is the animation style, and I loved the crayon. It was very like almost like it was done with crayons, right?
Yeah, that's about how it kind of looked like. Yeah,
It was that little bit sloppy, like where you could see the lines and see like the colors, but the way that it was done was really cool, and there were a lot of parts that were just really
yeah,
just artistically beautiful and just
yeah,
fun. It just worked really well for the story and the world they were trying to put together.
yeah. At first, I thought that I was gonna have trouble with it, like because
Hmm.
it wasn't as crisp as like I wasn't expecting it to be exactly like Spider Verse, but it like you said, it was a little messy, but that was done on like that was a
Yeah,
purposefully made choice.
yeah.
So I thought I was struggling with it for a second, but I was like, no, you know what, this kind of works for the way this movie's being told and like the way the characters are moving and stuff. It just is supposed to look like a kind of a messy uh comic book or cart, like I don't know, just something. But eventually like my brain accepted what I was seeing on screen and I was like, yeah, this is cool. I like
Yeah.
this and like it kind of cleaned itself up in my mind to me
Yeah.
where I was just able to understand it better as we were going. But yeah, it was interesting. I liked it. I
It,
like the
it
uniqueness of it.
yeah, it kind of reminded me of like Jeff Lemire's art,
Sure.
where it's like kind of like the proportions aren't always right, and it just kind of has its very distinct style to it. It begged me to ask a question that I haven't asked in a while, but
Mhm.
was that done on computers? Is that considered a computer animated, or did they animate that? I don't
By
know the
hand.
answer, and the look on your face right now tells me you don't know it either. But I was really trying to figure out if it was something that was like animated old school with like drawing it, or if that
Hand
was,
drawn.
I'm sure
Yeah.
computers had something to do with it, because computers always do. But I was genuinely like, it was done in a way in which I really thought it could have been hand animated, which I thought was really cool. Even if it wasn't, it still
Yeah,
looked like it.
we'll have to look for that later. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm guessing that probably the designs may have been hand drawn, and then like when it came time to do the full motions and whatever, of course it's 2023. There, I'm sure that was very much so handled by computers. But yeah, I don't know. And you mentioned like the proportions being off. That was kind of throwing me a little bit too. Like all the turtles kind of had different shaped heads. I don't know if you noticed that. I mean, I know that it's very trendy now to make Raphael a little bigger, and they
Yeah,
did that again. But like even like Michelangelo had like a long face, and Donatello's was like small and circular, and Leo was like the kind of a mix of all of them together.
yeah,
He looked like the most normal, but they were all kind of different shaped. Yeah, and
yeah,
just like other side characters, some of them had like long necks, and some people's eyes were off to like off
yeah.
center and like off to the side. So, but it was cool. Like it made it look unique, like I kind of said. So I don't know. I was into it.
No, 100%. 100% was into the I loved the animation style. It worked really well for the story, made everything really, really cool. So then as we move into just like the story in general, Mutant Mayhem,
Mhm.
this the basic idea was we were retelling the Ninja Turtle origin story of how they came to be. We talked about the ooze. They opened this one talking about Baxter Stockman kind of being the creator of the ooze, and he was trying to create mutant family children that he wanted to have make these perfect beings, and then he got raided by some government agency, and then he lost a vial of it in the sewers, which led to Splinter and um, the turtles
Turtles.
being created. And then
Sure.
we got a completely different brand new version of Splinter and where he came from and what he did. And then the old school version was that he was in Japan and kind of almost had stuff set up with the Shredder, like a feud. I mean, and I remember in that 90s movie you had that animatronic rat doing kung fu in the cage before
Oh my god, that shit
yeah,
was so
yeah.
funny.
um
But
and this one,
even
huh?
in the cartoon, like Splinter was a man
Mm,
who Splinter was like a
yeah,
sensei before, and then when the ooze got to him, he turned into a rat. But in other tellings, he's a rat first, and then becomes like a man rat. So it's like this is like the third different
yeah.
iteration of that. Interesting.
Yeah, so you kind of had that, so it kind of gave us the origin of the ooze and the turtles and what they were doing, and then they kind of went back to telling this kind of the same story that they told in the Michael Bay Turtles movies, which was how do we become accepted? We want to be part of your world as we get sued by Disney, and they wanted to be where the people are, and
You said it again.
but I mean that's what it is. So they wanted, how do you get accepted by humans? Can we be part of the humans? How do we go into that world without getting milked? How do we if you see the movie, that was Splinter's fear that he taught the turtles was if you go, the humans will milk you.
Did we say spoilers yet? Because spoilers. There's talk of milking in here.
I put it in the title.
Okay.
Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers.
Yeah.
So we have the and then we're telling the story about the ooze and basically the turtles needing to save New York was the overall glimpse of this movie. Um, and spoilers, they do save New York, and everybody loves the Ninja Turtles now. So then they can make the sequel where they are having parades. And I mean, hell, at the end of this movie, they were going to high school.
I know, which we've never seen before, which kind of like begs most of like the question, the changes made that like in this one that we haven't really seen in other versions, and how we feel about them. I
Yeah.
don't know. We've seen kind of an origin a few different times. They talk about what happens, how the ooze hits them when they're baby turtles and they grow up, and Splinter teaches them, blah blah blah. We've all seen it. Now this one has an origin in there too, but I must say, personally, this is the cutest one of all of them so far. Those little adorable baby turtles with
Mm-hmm.
Splinter just being like, dada, like with their little turtle cute baby faces.
Yeah.
It was adorable.
Yeah.
I've never seen the TMNT origin be this adorable before, and I was here for it.
Well, it helped because that they made Splinter look like a middle-aged man.
Yeah.
with like his mustache and his like.
I couldn't stop looking at those eyebrows, by the way, the
Yeah,
entire time. They were kind of distracting.
yeah.
Those bushy
But yeah,
Splinter eyebrows.
having
Yeah,
kind of Splinter be adorable, looking like a 30-year-old raising these
yeah.
4 turtles in like an apartment that was in the sewer was kind of adorable across. So yes, it was definitely the cutest raising of that. What I
Yeah.
wanted to know is in the 15 years from that happening
Mm.
and the turtles growing up, what the hell happened to Splinter? Because he aged like 60 years in those
Right.
15. He went
He
from
had
being like a 30-year-old, like
he had like a Jerry
prime of his
curl and a
life.
mustache. Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry curl mustache. He was ready to go out on the town. And then when they jump 15 years, he's like this old man.
That is funny. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell happened? I put that in my notes. I'm like, Splinter aged a lot in 15 years. No, I didn't mind any of this retelling. I liked even the story that they were retelling where Splinter like tried to take them out to Times Square and like, let's just go see what happens with the humans. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it like it's a great way to explain why he doesn't like humans or why
Mm.
he doesn't want them out in the world. Every other version is just like, no, you can't go out there, you can't be seen, hide in the shadows. But it never really tells you why. Like why do you not want us to? This one is clearly showing you why, because he knows it's dangerous, because the first time he tried, the human race tried to kill them, thought they were monsters or whatever.
They kind
Um
of are.
they are. I mean, yeah, they're fucking turtles in the sewer. They're monsters.
They are
Um, I,
monsters.
if I saw a giant turtle man crawl out of the sewer, I'm beating it with a hammer until it's dead. Uh, sorry, uh, I just am. But
Oh man, I can't stop picturing that now.
turtle man,
Turtle
kill
man
it,
crawling out of the sewer.
beat it to death.
Yeah, but then when he starts talking to you and he's like, "Bro, what are you doing,
No,
man?"
it talks. Beat it harder.
I thought it was
Uh,
really interesting that this was the first time, at least in the movies, where
mm.
they actually felt the turtles actually felt like teenagers.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Yeah, that that was very apparent even early on in like the trailers that they were going to do that and go this route.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that a lot because it's right there in their name, teenage.
Yeah,
So we love all the movies, we love all the things we've seen. But dude, in the 1990s Ninja Turtles movie, Raphael sounds like a 35-year-old pizza maker. Like, hey Leo, like you're not a teenager, you sound like a 40-year-old.
mm-hmm.
So like to make them young and actually be voiced by teenage actors is
Yeah,
like,
it was cool.
and you could tell that it was cool. I love Donatello, the way he talked. Like he sounds like a child. He sounds like a kid. He does sound like a young, just nerdy teen.
Yeah,
He's never sounded like that before. So that was fun to see, like actually emphasizing the teenager part of them. I
yeah,
was a
and I
big
loved that Donatello like said the thing that we always said as kids, which was all he has is a stick.
right.
He's
Why
just
do I
got a
have a
stick. I
stick?
don't want to be Donatello because he's got a stick. And he said it multiple times. And
Yeah.
I died laughing when he was fighting that guy. And he goes, he's using my stick against me. I
Yeah.
died laughing. That genuinely made me laugh.
That was always an argument as kids. Like
Yeah.
Leonardo gets swords. Like Raphael gets little swords. Donatello's got a bow staff. Isn't he mad all the time? Like, how come I got a stick?
Yep.
Well, you can I have swords too?
Yeah.
No, I got a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that. I thought that was funny. What did you feel? How did you feel, I guess, about April being a teenager?
Yeah, that was a little different. I'm sure there's been maybe because we've missed some iterations along the way, like
Yeah,
the Nickelodeon
yeah.
show and stuff,
Yeah.
So they may have done that again. But like the turtles we're used to is her being older and an
A
adult who
reporter.
already
Yeah.
a reporter who already works at like a news station, and she meets them, whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, it
Megan
was
Fox.
right. Yeah. It was different. It was cool. I didn't like or dislike it, I guess.
It fit.
It kind of just put her on their level, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um in a different way than we've kind of seen. So yeah, I was cool with it. You
Yeah. I really liked April. I could have done without her vomiting so much, but
Yeah, that was a little gross. That was just to make kids laugh.
I
But I
know.
was but I was like, enough with
See,
that. It's
I was
gone.
concerned for her because I wanted to know what was happening, that it was solid green. I'm like, what is this girl eating?
Right.
That she's having like green ooze coming out of her.
Looks like you need to see a doctor,
Yeah.
April.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with
You need to
you.
worry about this. These kids are calling you puke girl because they're worried about you.
Right. That don't look
No,
right.
I will tell you the one change that I didn't like.
Let's hear it.
I didn't like that Bebop and Rocksteady were good guys.
Mm, yeah, I have a theory about that, but we can get into it later. But
Um,
I can see that. I can
but
see that.
that was just that was weird. It was, once again, this was the really the first turtle project that I've seen that didn't have a shredder.
Correct, which we can also talk about.
So usually you always have Shredder and his, lackeys are Bebop and Rocksteady, and they're there for comic relief, and they're kind of bumbling idiots, but they are what they are. And I didn't know until I was looking up stuff to do this. I didn't know John Cena was Rocksteady.
Yeah, John Cena was Rocksteady, and Seth Rogen, of course, was
Yeah,
Bebop. Yeah,
I mean, and either one of they didn't have a lot of lines. They weren't focused on. They just existed. And but yes, it was a little jarring, like when they were kind of being good guys and doing that. And I mean, all of the bad guys. Leatherhead was in this. I really loved like the hell's it called? Character
gallery.
rogue gallery, the rogue
Yeah,
gallery
uh-huh.
of like video game, like Leatherhead was in here, and like all the people that I was fighting in those arcade games were in this movie, which were really cool.
And it's a lot of guys that pop up in the games. They popped up in the cartoons too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say what you want. Batman has a great rogues gallery. Spider Man does too. Ninja Turtles don't have a bad one either. Like when you go through down the line, you're like Leatherhead, Metalhead, Mondo Gecko, the Bat. I can't think of his name. Baxter the Fly or the Rat King. They got a lot of cool villains.
Yeah,
So a lot of them were featured here. That like when they were introducing them, I was like, I remember that guy. Like I kind of remember that guy, but not really.
yeah.
So yeah, it was cool to see them. The Rocksteady and Bebop thing, it's fun to see them in this. But yeah, them being good guys, quote unquote, at the end of the movie was a little weird because we're just used to them always kind of being the straight
Go
up
to bad
villains,
guys. Yeah.
go to bad guys who always like are doing the hand to hand combat with the turtles. Um, I have a theory about that if there's a sequel to this film,
Okay.
but
Lay it
since
on
we're
me.
talking since we're talking about it, the whole shredderless thing of it, do you like that this movie focused on like Superfly, who was voiced by Ice Cube, which I thought was great casting. I liked him a lot in
Yeah.
this, but that it wasn't like Shredder wasn't the main villain, and this is like the first film of the franchise. Was that weird, or was it different that they kind of like you liked that they took it's it kind of reminds me of Christopher Nolan's first Batman movie not being the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like the obvious choice: Joker, Batman, Ninja Turtles, Shredder. So you're like, we have this movie, we're gonna use the villain, like their main villain, of course, because it makes sense. But then they don't, and it's kind of weird. But at the same time, is it like a good choice, or how'd you feel about it?
I didn't like it.
Okay.
It was fine, but it just felt like it was missing something. Just from that, like I said, it was a different kind of story, but it also kind of almost felt like one of those like villain of the week.
Sure.
Made it just kind of feel like a bonus episode of a show. Like you're just, this is the Superfly arc, and we watch these 5 cartoons for a week, and we watch the
Mm-hmm.
Superfly saga. Um, where when you're going to see a movie, it's like I want to see what the big shredder is. Plus, I always like the foot, and I like the just everything that comes with the shredder aspect of it, as well as kind of the Japanese martial arts, kind of that whole side of it, which this didn't have. Where most every other turtle one kind of has that martial arts feel to it, theme that kind of goes through, and this one didn't have that, which I did miss. I didn't mind that Shredder wasn't in it, and I did appreciate that they were going to just do something different, so that was
Mm-hmm.
cool. So I mean, I really can't say that I mean, ultimately, yes, I didn't like it, but it really didn't have anything to do with the movie. I didn't like or dislike the movie more or less because they didn't do it. It was just different.
Yeah. Well, we're just so used to Shredder being there.
Yeah.
Like you're just used to every time there's a turtle project, they go up against the Shredder because He's their nemesis.
Yeah, that's you
I,
throw other ones, but usually Shredder's always kind of the kingpin behind it. So it was just
I
different, but
yeah,
like I said, would have probably preferred to see Shredder do some stuff and
right.
see the Bebop and Rocksteady give them a moment to actually be villains and do their thing. But this was a
Yeah.
different story. And as you're talking about the idea of sequels, I can kind of see where, like you said, the Batman Begins of it, and be like, well, we're going to set up Shredder for the second one, and he's going to recruit some of these mutants and do some shit.
Well, before we go any further, let me ask you then: did you stick around for the end credits,
No,
post
was I
credit scene?
supposed to?
Maybe.
Well, what happened? Tell me what happened. I'm tired
uh,
of sitting in movie theaters for
I
like 15
know
minutes.
it's
So
hard.
I thought about it. Like the thought came through my head, like the credits started, and I was like, nope, I'm just leaving. I was like, if there's a credit scene, I'll read about it. But
Well, that's one thing like we can be mad at Marvel for doing because now that became a thing because of Marvel. Like
yeah,
every movie now, you're not sure. Like people are asking questions about movies that aren't have nothing to do with superheroes. Like, is there an end credit scene? Like, I don't like this trend. I don't like
yeah,
making me sit through all the damn credits, which you should watch the credits because you want to be appreciative of all the people who brought you the movie. But I don't got the time. I've already sat here for 2 hours. I don't want to sit through 10 more minutes of just name scrolling to see another scene of this
yeah.
movie. I get it. I get it. Um,
But I take it you sat and watched all the scrolling.
I did, and I might have even missed another one because I think I saw mid. Well, I don't think there's an. I think there's just one. But anyway, there was an end credit scene where it went back to that lady who was like the lady behind the computer.
Yeah, the Maya
I
Rudolph.
Yeah, was that who voiced her?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, they went back to her and she was talking, blah, 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 saying, we're going to do this and that. And then basically, long story short, like in a nutshell, she just basically said, I think it's time to bring in the Shredder. And then they like went out to New York and you kind of saw his silhouette, like
mm,
shoulder. You saw the spikes. So like, all right, well, there's part two. Shredder's going to be in part two.
yeah,
Um, so my theory is he's in part two. He comes in and maybe then recruits Rocksteady and Bebop to join him,
yeah,
which will kind of give them an interesting angle then because they're kind of like teammates with them right now.
yeah.
So if
Living
he
in the sewers with them.
right, so if Shredder gets them to flip, that could be an interesting story.
Yeah,
But yeah, so we can kind of, I mean, the movie made enough money. We can expect a part two, and then obviously now Shredder's going to be the villain of that movie. So we're gonna get him, but like I said, it's kind of like a Batman Begins situation where Joker comes in part two, Shredder comes in part two. So yeah, I was okay with the difference. It's kind of a brave choice,
yeah,
like it's kind of like, well, we kind of want to tell this story. How many times has Shredder been done? Let's
yeah.
tell let's tell a different, let's go a different route. So I was okay with it. You know, I like I said, Ice Cube was very entertaining. I thought it was cool.
What do you think of Jackie Chan as Splinter?
Yeah, that was cool.
He had some good lines.
He did. Um, I like Jackie Chan. I just like hearing him talk.
Yeah,
He's not in enough stuff anymore. He's obviously older, but yeah, I mean, makes perfect sense. Jackie Chan, old sensei master. How can you go wrong?
yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. They did. They told that milking joke a lot.
They did keep
That was a
going back.
running joke that I was kind of like, okay, I get it, but it still kind of was funny when they actually got to it and they actually got milked
He's milking me. Yeah,
from the Milkmaster 2000 or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
That was kind of funny.
Like we don't have any nipples.
And and I love the fact that they were like didn't want Splinter to know what they do to you.
Right.
They got me a couple times, which is
Oh yeah,
expected.
there were some good jokes, but even the ones that like they mixed in modern stuff, like modern jokes that like maybe we're a little too old for. I mean, Donatello's talking about Attack on Titan. Like
Yeah,
I don't know Attack on Titan, or they're talking about YouTube or like whatever. Like they went back a little bit when they were telling jokes like about Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like kids aren't even gonna get this. This is a joke for us. They don't know what Ferris Bueller's Day Off is.
yeah,
But yeah, a lot of modern jokes like pop culture stuff. Uh, we try to be in tune with
yeah,
that, but sometimes we're too old. But
yeah. Them arguing over if they're being sus or not.
Yeah, like sus. Ooh, a word that's beyond my generation.
It is.
Sus.
It is. I don't know if I could pull off saying that
Right.
in a general conversation. I don't know if I can call someone sus.
No, it's the same as like when we were kids and like a 40-year-old be like, you hear these kids out here telling each other psych? They tell each other psych on everything.
Yeah.
Or not.
Talk to the hand.
uh,
Yeah. And most of the other things we can't say without getting canceled now. So
yeah,
we won't go down that thing. But no, I enjoyed the updates that they did, and then just the Easter eggs that they still came around. You know, the Ninja Rap was in there. Vanilla Ice made a little cameo.
Mhm.
A lot of other still like little things. That's the only one that's jumping out to me right now is the Easter egg in my head. But
Yeah, but that was fun. I thought that was cool. They included that.
but
Um,
but yeah, I
yeah,
liked all the newer. Like I said in the beginning, I really liked that this was made for a different generation and give them their turtles.
yeah. At the end of the day, dude, it's just impressive that this is such a enduring thing. Um, like how many cartoons did we watch that just were never to be heard from again? But somehow this cartoon, this comic book, this toy line, whatever you want to say, has endured from when we were children to now,
Mm-hmm.
decades later. It's kind of crazy that a young kid today is just as into Ninja Turtles as we were as kids. It's like, that doesn't really happen with
Mm-hmm.
these kind of IPs. So it is very impressive. Like, and they're just gonna keep doing it over and over. Like in 10 years, there'll be another Ninja Turtles for the next generation of kids. So it's just, you know, I really I like it. I'll always love the Ninja Turtles, man. Anything that comes out Ninja Turtles, I'm in for it. Comic books, video games, anything. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it was great to see them on the big screen again. I liked the music choices that they had. They had some modern music, but then they also went back having a. I never thought I would see a giant action scene to Four Non Blondes. Um,
Mm.
that was kind of funny the way that they did that, and I liked that whole action sequence. I love that Michelangelo was obsessed with the little gecko. They were like best friends immediately.
Voiced by Paul Rudd.
Yeah, which I didn't know. I thought it was can't think of the dude's name from Brooklyn Nine-Nine and
Oh,
Lonely.
Andy Samberg.
Yeah, Andy Samberg. I thought that's who it was. I kept trying to figure it out. It didn't sound right, but I felt like it was. It
Yeah.
seemed like a role he would be in this movie. Because I
Right.
was immediately thinking, because I know he was in Spider-Verse as Ben Riley.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, he's in both of these movies.
Right. Right.
How? I just kicked my desk.
All right.
It,
Nice
it,
little.
it happens. And the whole desk was shaking and my toe hurts now. So, but
You
yeah,
can't edit that out. Just gotta leave it.
oh yeah, I don't edit anything out. Listen to all these other podcasts talk about how hard it is to edit. And I'm like, it's not that hard. I just,
It's not hard when you don't edit
yeah,
anything
chop
out.
out the beginning, chop out the middle. If there's any blanks, I take them out, but
That's
we're still
awesome.
talking. It's fine.
Yeah.
You guys get unfiltered,
Yeah,
raw,
man.
unedited. It's how we like to do it here
How we
on
like
Raised
it.
Geek. Um,
Did you like we said Seth Rogen was the voice of Bebop. Did you feel like he changed his voice a little?
a little, but not much.
It's funny because like we talked about this when Mario came out and he did the voice of Donkey Kong. Like he didn't change shit. He's just Seth Rogen talking. Uh I feel like he like gave it he gave it like the minimum effort to kind of just be like, you still hear Seth Rogen in there, but he talked a little different, like, hey guys, like just put a little twang onto it,
Yeah,
but it's like you're still just Seth Rogen no matter what you do. Uh Same
yeah,
thing, like he does a voice in Invincible too. It's just like you're just Seth Rogen.
yeah.
Your voice is hilarious. You
Well,
don't need to change anything.
I think he's said in interviews multiple times that he really can't act. So he just does what he does. He's
Right.
just Seth Rogen. He's just kind of to this point now where it's just he is
Yeah.
what he is, and you just get
You
what you
you get
get.
you get what you get. He's a national treasure.
Yeah, yeah. Somehow that happened in our world.
Right.
Um, but I love the fact that they did an entire action sequence to No Diggity.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's because that song is the jam. Was that the song with the puppet
Where like
in the music video?
with the Anthony Hardaway little puppet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was that.
That was
music
that song, right? It wasn't because wasn't it the puppet that always said
video. Yeah, and the piano like dum 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 dum.
that song is a jam, man.
Oh, that song's good. That will
And
always be.
whenever I hear it, it always makes me laugh because I remember when I was a kid and my mom came home with that Blackstreet CD.
Yeah.
And we're like, why did you buy this? And she was like, they were playing it in Sam Goody and I liked it. So she bought that thing. And then she was listening to it at home and she did not like it at home.
All right. She just like the.
She, I think there was like a completely different song somewhere in there that she just really liked. And she went up and asked the person, like, what is
this?
this?
What's
And they're like,
playing?
Blackstreet. My mom's like, I'm going to buy that. And that
That's
was just,
hilarious.
yeah, it's just something that always stands out because she just wasn't a hip hop.
Right.
That's just a weird album for her to come home with.
When this is before you could just like listen to one song on the internet and be done with it. You didn't have to. Back then, we had to buy full CDs.
Yeah.
Remember the feeling of buying a CD because you liked one song and the rest of it was shit?
Yeah.
I was like, I wasted $15 on this, or however much CDs were. But we just had to. You just bought CDs.
You just had to buy it. See, I always liked it when you would get a banger. And you're like, I know one song, and then you listen to it and you're like, holy shit, this album is crazy. And then you got to tell your friends, like, dude, check this out. I made a copy of it onto a cassette. Listen to this tape.
Well, it was just like a coin flip. It was this could either be really good or really bad. I know one song from the radio, but I want to hear it again, so I'm going to buy the CD. These other 13 songs, I don't know if these are going to be shit or gold. I'm just rolling the dice here.
Yeah.
Welcome to our lives.
And sometimes you would just mess up because I remember going to that one record store. What's it called? Threshold? Was that a record store?
Yes, in Orland Park, Illinois.
Yeah, Orland Park, Illinois. Threshold. I have no idea if it's still there.
No, it's long gone.
Long gone. But I remember they had this like listening booth where they would have like 9 CDs in I
think it's a Portillo's now. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I know. Anyway, go ahead.
But they had like 8 CDs in like a listening thing where you could put on headphones and you could pick like a CD and listen to, like, the whole thing was there, so you could like flip through it. So I'm flipping through this one CD and I'm just like, oh yeah, this is good, and I was enjoying what I was listening to. But then I didn't pay attention to the lights, so I grabbed another CD that I thought it was. So I bought the wrong CD. So then I started listening to it. I'm like, this doesn't sound like what I wanted, but I paid $18 for it. And I was like, all right, I got this Owen CD now. I don't know what this is.
You still remember the band Owen?
Yeah, I still remember the CD. I tried listening to it a couple times. Like, I'm going to get my money's worth out of this. And every once in a while,
I'm going to like it.
And I listen through my CDs every once in a while and I see it and I always laugh because I know I did not want to buy that CD, but I bought it. All right. Weird sidebar, but
that's hilarious.
I could do more sidebars about Threshold, but we're going to.
Anybody who's in like Gen Z listening to us right now is like, what are these old fuckers talking about? I don't understand any of this. But
leave us millennials alone.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, 100%. Back to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What else do I got here? Yes, music, the action. I mean, anything really jump out at you that you just really wanted to talk about with this movie? Was there any action sequences? Something that we missed? Any final thoughts? Any notes that you wrote down?
Nothing crazy. I mean, I had a good time. We didn't really talk about the action too much, but the action was cool. It was fun. I liked seeing them as like young, have never been in a fight before.
Yeah,
like that first time they met those like criminals in that whatever, and they were doing some shady underground stuff, and it was like literally their first time fighting. All they've done is like practice, and like Raphael was like, I dream about fighting every single night. And they're like, dude, you need therapy. Like
his rage was hilarious. Like they leaned in heavy with that, and it was great.
Yeah. So
he threw his sai and it got stuck in Donatello's leg. His sai finally stabbed somebody, and it was hilarious.
It never ever has before. It never will again. Like Leonardo never cuts anybody. He just like hits him with the butt of the sword. I did like that this is one of the first times that Leo and Raph didn't like want to kill each other. Like they always do. They always go to that story, like the fight, like Raph wanting to be the leader and them always butting heads.
Yeah.
Like I like that they didn't lean into that too much. Just like let them be light and funny and always friends. I want them to be always friends through the whole thing. Every other movie they get in arguments. Somebody storms off, somebody leaves, somebody quits. They can't get along. Like they get along this whole movie. So I like that. And then the other thing that they kind of changed at the end is like, this is, correct me if I'm wrong, this is one of the first times like the turtles actually did end up acclimating with the humans at the end. Like the end of this movie, like, well, they do, but you know what I mean, in a
Yeah,
different way. Like they're high school students now.
I know.
They took their damn bandanas off their eyes
Yeah,
and walked into a high school, and they're just students. I don't think that really we've seen much of that anywhere.
not to
That
that level. I can't
yeah, so
remember because yeah, even in like the Michael Bay ones, they didn't. They were still hiding.
right.
Maybe
And I
by the
mean,
end of that second movie, they came, but yeah, I don't remember. That movie was trash. But
and like at the end of the original 90s movies, they weren't. I mean, they were dancing in the second one with a bunch of people, and they got accepted and cheered and put
in
in a
one
news.
club,
Right, they got put in the newspaper, but they're not like going out and getting jobs and like living in apartments. They're still gonna, but like in this movie, they're like going to high school with human kids. So I liked that. I thought it was cool. It was like what they've always wanted.
yeah,
Um,
it opens the door for like, what's this universe look like now? It was an origin story for this universe turtles, and what
mm,
does that look like for a sequel? So it actually is kind of exciting as to what they could do,
sure,
because
yeah,
I think this a sequel would be very different.
yeah. And now like we got all the introductions and origins out of the way. Like I like when they do that in the first movie, then we can kind of get to it in the second one. So bring on Shredder, bring on, everything you got for a part two. I'm here for it.
How do you feel about Superfly becoming a giant whale?
It was weird. It was weird.
What I thought was weird was like when he first started fighting them and like threw cars at him and like Michelangelo, it's like hearing the buzz and like looking at the terror of everybody being like beat up. And then they stopped and had like a heart to heart in the middle of the street and they're talking for a long time. And I'm like, why did Superfly stop? Where did he go? He just
Right. Where
disappeared.
is he?
Like,
Yeah.
where did he go? Why isn't he finishing them off? They're talking for a long time in the middle of the street.
The weirdest part to me about that like huge body that was like a combination of all these different things with those horse legs. That was weird.
Yeah.
That was strange. I was like, who came up with who how high was Seth Rogen when he wrote this damn thing?
Right.
Probably pretty high,
Yeah.
knowing
Probably.
him, but yeah, it was a little strange. I saw that toy, like that toy of that giant thing. I didn't see it live, but I like saw it advertised somewhere on the internet. I was like, what kid is gonna that's a weird toy to ask your mom for. Like, let me
How
get this
big is it?
giant, huh?
How big is it?
I think it was like bigger than a normal action figure, like double the size.
I kind of want
Uh,
it.
put in your collection. Look it
Yeah.
up.
And put it
Yeah,
behind me.
yeah.
I might have to
It
look
was
it up
weird.
and see.
It was weird looking, but it was cool.
I was thinking about trying to get the turtles. Like to
The
get a
toys.
new yeah, just get a set of the four of them as action figures. I did think about doing some of that. That would be
I
cool to
mean,
have. I don't have any turtles.
how much did we love Ninja Turtle action figures growing up? It'd
I
be
loved them a lot, and then when I hit teenagerdom and I'd rather had money, I sold my whole set for like $20 or something really stupid.
and you regret that now, I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah, I regret it now. When you're 13, I was like, man, I got $25, and I probably like walked around at the garage sale and bought like NES games that I don't have anymore. I'm sure I
Mm,
bought trash with it and nothing, but
yep. Yep.
it's a shame. Though that was the only I kept like almost every other series of toys, but I sold the turtles, and I don't know why.
Like Blink 182 said, I guess this is growing up.
I can't do anything with that. Just I'm gonna have Blink 182 play us out.
There you go.
I guess this is growing up. All right, Mutant Mayhem, good time.
Yeah.
If we still remembered that we did a rating system, we'd give it a bunch of glasses.
Yeah, yeah. We already forgot about that old thing, didn't we?
We did. I thought about it like the middle of this. I'm like, hey, we stopped rating things, so
Well, I give it a good rating. I give it a thumbs up. How's that?
yeah, give it a thumbs up too.
There we
Like
go.
Siskel and Ebert here. If give it thumbs up. If you want us to come back with the rating system, shoot us an email at raisethegeek@gmail.com or hit us up on our socials at Raise the Geek across the board, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok,
All the places.
all the places. We're all the places, and we're always looking for those reviews on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, we're available. Wherever you get your video, we're available. We're everywhere. So come join us in the Raise the Geek verse.
Please do. There's
'Cause
more than
we-
enough room for you.
More than enough. And we have fun. But we will be back next week talking about something. We'll put it out on Twitter once we know what it is.
Bingo.
All right. We're wasting time. We've been here way too long talking about the Ninja Turtles. So I think that's going to do it for us this week. So for Raise the Geek, I'm Chris.
And I'm Don.
And thanks for checking out the show.
Where geek is all we speak.